Hey, I just saw a blog post on a site called Dram stating that YouTube is making inroads into journalism and pointing as evidence to the claim by the author YouTube's recent interview of three YouTube creators of President Obama, Hank Green, Glozell, and Bethany Mota, who I thought all of them did a good job in various different ways. But that aside, the blog post that I read just a moment ago is, wow, a good, I would say, 7 years too late. It should have been written, 8 years too late. It should have been written in 2007 when CNN partnered with YouTube, right here, see, ta-da, YouTube, and you're on YouTube, to produce the CNN YouTube Democratic debate, where presidential candidates, including then Senator Barack Obama, were being interviewed, and the questions came not from CNN directly or Anderson Cooper, who was the host, but from YouTubers like myself. I produced the sample video to show you how to make a video for the CNN YouTube Democratic debates. And I wasn't the only one. And then a number of other YouTubers were flown to South Carolina for the debate itself. I thought it was an incredible something that really hasn't been done yet again since then, for a number of reasons. I have theories as to why. That's another video. But the point that I'm making is, what was done then was media partnering with YouTube, and that right there spelled a possible future that hasn't been done very well at all. But also the simple fact that YouTube was given that kind of entree, if you will, should have been the time that the blog post was written. Not now. It doesn't matter. It's it's another example of the article or blog post of journalists whining about new media and not participating in new media. It's another example of that, the fact that it was written now, of the fact that journalists still don't get it. The bottom line is, journalism is the act of producing content. And if you look at journalism strictly from that perspective, okay, you don't have to go to journalism school to be a journalist, to produce content. I myself don't call myself a journalist at all. I am a blogger and a video blogger. I am one of YouTube's first generation of partners, people who earn an income, earn a living from the content that they produce, the video content that's posted on YouTube and within YouTube's guidelines. When I started, there were, maybe 2,000, then the number turned to 10,000. Now there are well over 1 million of us. I have posted on SFGate. I was part of the City Brights program from 1999 to 2011 for myself, until I was blocked ceremoniously, and I loved it. I'll get to that in a second. But I was posting my videos as an integral part of my blog posts then. I even had a playlist at the top. The executive director of sfgate.com, then Kevin Skaggs, and then the op-ed page editor and one of the top executives said to me, "We can't pay you." And I said, "That's fine, but do you mind if I put this playlist up?" And they said, "No." And that playlist made a great deal of money for me at a time when SFGate was trying to figure out why I was the #1 traffic generator on their site. I kid you not. I am not making this up. I generated alone in October of 2009 1.1 million page views. Unique visitors, excuse me. And then it was so bad that when I met with Phil Bronstein to interview him later that year, in December, before we started the meeting, he sat down with me and said, we had a meeting with a big boss. That's Steve Schwartz, who was in New York, who's now Chief Executive Officer. And your name came up. And I said, why? And he said, well, there was this big chart, and your name was at the top of the list. You've gained more traffic than all of other areas of our site, including the Daily Dish, which previously their #1 traffic generator. I did it because I had a special way of blogging that they thought incorporated some sort of special trick of link and everything. Nothing like that at all. No, not at all. And I'm not going to mention it here. And that, coupled with my YouTube videos and the way that I use them, caused me to generate over 26 million unique visitors for that site over the 3 years that I was involved with sfgate.com. And yet you would think someone would say, well, Bronstein said to the Hearst Corporation and to the San Francisco Chronicle, you need to hire this guy as a consultant. They never did. Because I wasn't a journalist, because I didn't do things the way that they wanted, because I'm black. You could put all of those reasons into one basket and come out with the basic result, which was, hey, look, they didn't do me the respect of saying, we're going to bring you in at X amount and help us revive our site, which at the time had literally flatlined in terms of its traffic generation. I produced 3.2, on the average, 3.2 blog posts per day. And if you count that up, it was so much that that served as the reason, in part, that I was driving traffic to the site. When I stopped, their traffic went down by 11% within 1 month. Boom, actually less than 1 month. 11%. And then it eventually declined to where it was, at one point, half of what it was before. Terrible stuff. Journalists spend too much time labeling other people as whether or not they're journalists, and almost no time embracing the latest in media tech and using it to make money. And so people who are not trained as journalists have zoomed right by those who have been, made far more money than they have, and now essentially rule the day. I'm not saying that there aren't great examples of journalists who've gone into new media and done very well. For example, look at Kara Swisher with Recode, or look at Matt Marshall with VentureBeat. But they both cover tech. And so because they're tech-oriented, it is, from another perspective, logical that they've taken the steps that they have. And I really love what they do. Or you can look at TMZ and how TMZ has grown and quite literally taken over much of entertainment media. Done a terrific job, and they use basic journalist standards. So, and that's because you have a core group of people over there, and they insist on maintaining those standards as they move along. But with a twist. And then I even YouTube. But the point that I'm making is that in the examples of people that I have named, there are people who are journalists, who consider themselves journalists, who have embraced tech. Maybe not YouTube, but they've embraced tech. Now, me, I went on from the CNN YouTube Democratic debates to be a regular on CNN for a time live. And then I was invited to be a YouTube partner in 2008. I have covered 2 Democratic National Conventions. I have President Obama on several of my videos of my Zenny62 YouTube channel. I have interviewed many politicians. I went on to cover many tech events. I've covered the NFL draft for the last going on 10 years straight. I just covered Air Force One's landing in Atlanta about a month ago. I was at the NFL annual meeting 2 weeks ago. And all of this, all I've done, all of that because of YouTube. YouTube has given me the foundation to create my media company, Zenny62 Media, and my form of video blogging involving the use of iPhones and YouTube capture. and some other methods that I don't want to go into. But the bottom line message I'm sending is for journalists to stop whining and start working. The simple fact that articles like that one appeared is proof that journalists just aren't doing that. And it's also proof, if I may, that many journalism schools aren't teaching how to make money from new media, let alone how to be effective YouTube partners. It's bad.